Hey, group leaders, I hope you're having a great day so far. I don't know exactly when you'll get to watch this video, but I hope your day's gone well. We look forward to seeing you again here on Sunday morning. Sorry we had to cancel for the weather and what we were told would be an interesting night weather-wise, and you know how that goes here in the South. Sometimes it is, and sometimes it misses us, and we praise the Lord when it actually does miss us. But what I wanted to do was come to you in a kind of hopefully a short video. I'll do my best to keep it short and sweet and just kind of share an overview of a lot of the information that I was going to share with you last night. A couple of things that I wanted to share with you as far as announcements go. There's no services next week, so keep that in mind. Next Wednesday, we also won't have evening activities. That's across the board. It's spring break for most of our families. There's also a concession stand takeover that's happening at the Christian Academy. That'll be on March the 24th. It's going to be an opportunity for us as a church to serve one of our schools, and so our church school, and there's several time slots that are available for you or your Connect group to sign up. You can do that in the app, or you can email robin@lindsaylane.org for more information. Also keep in mind that Easter's coming. It's right around the corner. I know it seems like we just started this year, but we hope that you'll continue to pray and invite people to come Easter Sunday. We're going to have two services Easter Sunday, our 9 o'clock service and 10:45. There's no Connect groups that morning, and there's kid ministry available for kindergarten and under in both of those service times. So at 9 o'clock or 10:45, there's an opportunity for kids to come and be a part. And I'd also like to tell you, for men, any men in your Connect group, if they'd like to be a part of our D groups, we're going to start those back on April the 1st. They can sign up in the app. They can email me however they want to sign up. If they'd like to lead a D group, I'd love to connect with them and see how we can help them do that. We're going to be doing, or they have the option to do, the Humility Project for men, or some of our men are doing their own and continuing in it. Some of them have done Disciplines of a Godly Man, and some of them are continuing on in the chronological reading plan. And so if you're interested or know men who might be interested, or if you want to do a D group with people from your Connect group, let me know and we'll get you set up for that. It's real easy and very straightforward. A couple other announcements to share with you from Miss Kimberly Reese, who helps with our hospital list. If you have anybody that is in the hospital or has an upcoming surgery or just needs prayer, you can email those requests to Kimberly@lindsaylane.org, or you can do hospital@lindsaylane.org. But make sure that we have their permission to share that information, especially if they're in the hospital, so that we as a staff can go visit them, but also so that others can know to follow up with them as well. But just make sure you're also on that list. If you don't receive the hospital list, email Miss Kimberly@lindsaylane.org, and she can get that taken care of for you. I also wanted to share a couple of announcements from Katie White. Katie had mentioned, and she's shared with a couple of you about, or actually with all of our group leaders, let me back up, about women's ministry and needing names and recommendations for ladies who might be available to help serve in that and be a part of the planning team for upcoming events and things that they do. And so if that's you, or you know some ladies in your group that you think, hey, they would be great at this, email Katie@lindsaylane.org, and I know she'd love to have those names. And then you also receive emails probably weekly from Katie about visitors to our church. And so please make sure that if she sends you or assigns you a visitor, that you check and see, are you assigned to them, and reach out and make a contact with them. At a minimum, I would say send them a text message. At best, give them a phone call and just kind of follow up with them. And I know sometimes that takes time. I had one yesterday I followed up with that I was supposed to have done last week and just didn't get to it, and it slipped my mind. And I called them, and they said, well, we've been here for a while, but we just started visiting a group. And so it's good to reach out to people. Sometimes you do catch them by surprise that people actually follow up with them. And so I'd encourage you to do that. And I know sometimes you'll be like, well, maybe we didn't get a visitor. Why are we not getting it? She tries to go through those and look at those and share those, sometimes based on class size and where she knows a group can grow and where some are already kind of at a max number of people in their group. And so she tries to assign those as best she can based on those factors. And she does a great job of trying to get visitors connected with our Connect groups. So those are just a couple of our announcements that I had to share with you. I know if you've been reading emails from me, you're like, wow, we have gotten a lot of things over the last few weeks. Well, I'm trying to kind of get some things before you and let you see kind of just some reminders. Like I know I sent out that's our missions, values, and vision. Just to kind of keep that in front of you. I know that we as a staff try to do that, and we do that once a year. We did that back in February with our whole staff on a Tuesday in our staff briefing. Walk through all of these, talk through all of these, what we do well, what we don't. So I would encourage you to kind of look over these and kind of evaluate that same way. If you want to give me a 1% review of like, hey, I see y'all doing this, or I think this is where we need to improve, let me know. But I also wanted to share those with you just to kind of remind you of a couple of those and just highlight those for you. One of those is reach out, reach in. And we always say reach out, reach in. It's not on that sheet, but it's reach out, reach in that order. Because our tendency as church family is to always reach in. Like that's what's easy. That's what comes natural. That's what we typically are good at. But reaching out sometimes is the hard part because we don't know people, or we don't know how to reach out, or we don't know where to find them, or we don't know exactly what to do in those regards. But I would tell you to kind of lean into that because that's really one of the purposes of our groups. I know the other thing I shared with you is this care group manual, and we'll talk a little bit more about it here in just a second. But part of the vision and the mission and the strategy for Connect groups is evangelism. It's evangelism and discipleship. Like if you were to picture it as a circle, at the top of the circle would be evangelism. You're winning people to Jesus. That evangelism leads to discipleship. You're teaching them how to walk with the Lord. And through that discipleship and as a result of evangelism, them coming to know the Lord, growing in their walk with the Lord, that's where we as a church find our volunteers. That's where we find our teachers. That's where we find our leaders. That's where we find deacons. That's where we find choir members. That's where we find all these people who love the Lord and are willing to serve the Lord in various capacities with their gifts and their talents. But then not only, it doesn't just stop at discipleship, right? Like discipleship is a never-ending process. But if we do evangelism that leads to discipleship and we're still on that circle, that discipleship should also lead to not just serving, but also it should lead to more evangelism, going and sharing our faith. And then that evangelism should lead to discipleship that then leads to evangelism. So it's this continuous circle of evangelism and discipleship and teaching. And you as a teacher, like you're teaching and leading for a heart change that will hopefully lead to an action response, right? Like you're teaching, you're sharing the gospel. You hope to see people respond, whether in Connect group, whether in a conversation, whether in a service. And then you're teaching also for discipleship to continue to help them grow in their walk with the Lord. And then you're also trying to move them on to, now you go evangelize, you go and share the gospel. And I know Pastor Andy John has been sharing some of that. And so I just wanted to share that with you, just kind of as a highlight from our values of reach out and reach in, how that leads to evangelism, how that leads to discipleship. And honestly, that is something that we have to have. Like if I were to tell you something, like I would say a lot of these are non-negotiables, but that is one for sure, because it's mandated by Christ. It's mandated in the gospel. It's mandated in the Great Commission, and it's our job as believers to continue to evangelize and to disciple. And so I just wanted to share that with you. So that's from our mission, values, and approach. And so I'd encourage you to look over that. The other thing, as I shared a while ago, is this care group manual. I found this, actually I found several copies of it in a file folder in my filing cabinet of stuff that Randy Brown had passed on to me that I know Sonny Schofield had passed on to him. And so I sent that to you because as I began to look through it, yeah, some of the graphics, some of the things are a little dated, like we don't have a deacon assigned to each Connect group, that type of thing, but the principles that are found there, as I told you in that email, the principles that are found in this care group manual, man, they are phenomenal. I just went to a conference and a training. Actually, I went to two. And at both of those conferences, as I shared in the previous email, both leaders shared a lot of the principles that Sonny laid out and learned from some of these same men in this care group manual and put into practice. And a lot of times people ask me, like, how are the Connect groups doing so well here at Lindsay Lane? It's because of this foundation. It's because of these principles that were laid a long time ago. And so if you were to ask me, how can our Connect group be successful and how can we do things well? How can we grow? Man, my first step would be to tell you, look at this care group manual, look at how to kind of divide up your connect group. I know there's some terminology. Connect group is the overall class. Care group is little individual classes or little individual groups within that to help you care for the people within your connect group. And so I would just kind of share that with you. One of the things we learned, and I've known this principle to be true, and I've seen it over and over, and it's what makes ministry hard but also rewarding, is that you as a connect group leader, like, you cannot care on your own for every person that's in your connect group, right? Like, you can't. Like, whether you got 10 or whether you got 70 people in your group, you personally cannot. Because if you do and you try to do that, you're not going to have time to prepare to teach, or you're not going to have time to follow up with each individual. Like, you're not going to have time to care for them and meet their needs the way that sometimes those needs need to be met. Like, if they've got a hospital visit or a surgery, you can't be the only one that fixes and takes them meals. It's going to take a lot of people to help with that situation. And so that's why kind of you break it down into smaller groups within your connect group to help minister to and care for one another. The principle is, you as a leader, you can usually care for about 10 people. Now that's kind of been revised down to, for every one leader, they can care for 7 people. And that principle applies not just as a teacher to students, but that applies to relationships. Like, you can't have it's hard to have more than 7 to 10 meaningful relationships in your life. Why? Because they require time. Building relationships, getting to know people, ministering to them and their needs requires time, and you only have so much time. So I wanted to share that with you kind of as an overview from that care group manual. A couple of other things that I wanted to point out to you, or one other thing I wanted to point out to you in that care group manual, is class structure. And it's not class structure of like, hey, sit here, don't do this, that kind of thing. It's how to kind of break down your time together as a group. And I know, like, with us changing to 2 different hours of worship and connect group in 9 and 10:45, I know that has been an adjustment for you. I know some of you, like, you have choir members that come in late because they're singing in both services, or they're singing in the first and they miss that first part of care groups. So some of this is kind of a learning curve. But if you look in that care group manual, you'll see Brother Sonny kind of laid out the structure for an hour and 15 minutes and what that looks like, and kind of how to gauge and structure your time, like from sharing announcements, from taking prayer requests, from praying, from teaching, all those things. Like, he kind of laid that out. So I'd encourage you to look at that structure. And if that's an area that's hard for you, like, try to work that in. And I would say communicate that to your group really until they're tired of hearing it, of like, hey, we're going to start at this time. We're starting at 9. Then we're going to be praying. Then we're going to do this. However you want to, what order you want to put it in, do that, what works best for your class. But let them know, like, we're trying to fit from 9 o'clock to 10:15 or in the late hour as well. And part of that also not just helps your group and helps you, but it helps those, like we just talked about, reach out, reach in. When we invite people to group, a lot of times people come as visitors here, and when they come and they've planned to visit for a connect group, they're going to come early because they're not sure how long it's going to take them to find their group. And they want to make sure that they have time to kind of get there and not walk in the middle of a lesson. And so starting and ending on time also not just helps you and your class structure your time together, but it also helps our visitors find out where they need to go. And with regard to time, I know some of you, we've shared this with our staff, we've shared this with our deacons. One of the things in changing from one service and one connect group hour is that we've kind of looked at and reviewed is that time in between from 9 to 10:15 and then 10:15 to 10:45, that start time, that 30-minute gap, we're going to shrink that down starting after Easter. So after Easter, we're going to move to 9 to 10:15 for first group, and then the second hour will start at 10:30 instead of 10:45. So you'll have 9 to 10:15, 10:30 to 11:45. A couple of reasons why we're doing that. We kind of weren't sure at first how much time we needed in that transition time, and some of the things that we've kind of seen and taken note of is that 30 minutes is a long time between. It caused a little bit of issues in our age-graded ministries and the children's ministry and the student ministry of parents would finish with one thing and then go pick up their kids in the middle of something, in the middle of their stuff, and the kids weren't done yet. It's hard for our children's ministry to fill that 30-minute gap where teachers are swapping. And for same thing for students as well. And so one of the things we're trying to do is after Easter, so hear me, after Easter, services and connect groups will be offered from 9 to 10:15 and then 10:30 to 11:45. And if you're worried, like, well, what if our service goes over? Well, Daniel Green and Andy John and our pastor Andy John, they work really hard to plan out the services, and it's kind of scheduled to last an hour and 7 minutes is the average. And so, we pray that the Lord moves and works in the invitation, and if he does, we'll make adjustments. I know the last few weeks we've seen people respond and come to the altar and pray, and we can make adjustments for that. But we're going to try to fit that into that time frame, and that'll start again after Easter. So keep that in mind. You can share that with your groups this coming Sunday, that it'll be 9 and 10:30 after Easter. And then those are just a couple of things that I wanted to share with you from mission values and approach, and then the care group manual. And then the last thing, for the brevity of a video, I wanted to share with you. I know I sent y'all these attendance reports. And so in these attendance reports, what we try to do is look at all the numbers, and everybody reports their numbers. Like my assistant, Bridget Miller, she goes around, she gets all the adults. Daniel Green and Mary Elizabeth Beasley, they pick up all the students. Ashley does all the children's. Allie does preschool, those types of things. And then we put all those numbers in, and then we get this report. And then we also, you can see on this, you can see the East Campus, the West Campus, all the totals for all the things. And so I shared that with you because I wanted you to see kind of what we are seeing as well, is that our worship attendance numbers continue to grow. Like they are on average from this year to last year at the same time, they're higher than what they were last year. We've not dropped down below last year's numbers just yet, and we pray we don't. But also our connect group numbers are higher. And so praise the Lord that he's working and moving. But one of the things that you can see is that if you were to do the percentages, we used to do a thing, it's not on the sheet all the time, but we did a thing where we want to track what percentage of our worship attendance also attends group. And so we try to keep that number 60 to 70%. If it's above 70%, like that's great. And we typically run above that. And as we've shifted to these 2 different worship service hours and 2 connect group hours, the early service late group number has stayed in the 40 to 60% range. So there's room for growth there. And then those that go to early group and late service, that number has averaged between 60 and 75%. So that number continues to be what it was before we shifted. There's some work to be done for those that attend early service and late group. I think some of that we're missing is young families that are coming to that early service, dropping kids off in the nursery, and then they're leaving after that early service. So if I could tell you anywhere where growth needs to happen, it's that late hour of connect group that it'll be, I'm trying to think, it'll be that 10:30 to 11:45. You got to give me just a minute to think in my head. 10:30 to 11:45 group hour. That's where we need a couple of new classes. That's where there's opportunity for growth, not just for really for all of our age graded ministries. So if you have a group, I would encourage you, especially if your group is over 20 in number, like find a couple that you think, hey, I think y'all could lead a group. I think you could take these 5 couples with you, and y'all could go and you could start a group in this different time. And I know that's an adjustment. I know that's a sacrifice. I understand that, but I also know our value is reach out, reach in that order. And we've got to reach these families if we're going to continue to grow our connect group ministry. So I just wanted to share that with you as an encouragement, but also as a prayer request that we want to get not just that percentage higher, because that percentage does represent people as we go back to thinking about who are being evangelized and discipled and then led to do evangelism and then led to do discipleship. And that's really the ultimate goal. Like that's the responsibility I believe we have as a church. The Lord has sent these people to us. It's our responsibility to care for them, and I pray that we continue to do that. So hopefully this video wasn't too long for you. If you got any questions, feel free to email me if I need to clarify anything. Probably the biggest thing is that change after Easter. After Easter, our services will be 9 and 10:30. So keep that in mind, 9 and 10:30. You can share that with your groups this Sunday. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you Sunday morning.